Hi everyone, I just wanted to introduce my new development project that I made. It's called MapBoard. It's a war game map simulator and it allows map drawing and map editing. And I whipped it up quite quickly with programming with Grok, and I'd like to make it publicly available for whomever would like to use it. There are some different functions with the application. As you can see, the center board is the world map. There's standard zooming in and zooming out features. It's a simple drag system. And if you go to the top here, you've got select, note, text, draw, icons, and units. So you can add notes in different shapes, in particular regions, change the size of these notes. And if you look on the right-hand side, you've got the JSON. And so what I've created is a map board with many different JSON objects, units, tools, icons, and these JSONs have different properties. Now, what is the distinct difference between this application, this map application, and something else like Google Maps? What I've created is an LLM AI layer for the program. What the AI does is it takes the different objects on the map, which have proper coordinate system, longitude and latitude, and it adds it as context for an AI query. So if I go ahead and look here, I've actually added the USS Abraham Lincoln, and if I go to the JSON on the right-hand side, you'll see particular details about the location. Now, military assets are confidential with the Department of Defense, so some of the information isn't openly available. But I will show an example of how the AI works with plotting different objects and units on the map. Before I do that, let me just quickly go into the different tools. You've got text, so you can add a text box to the map wherever you like. This is a test. And you can just drag and drop this standard functionality across the map. Deselect, select, change the object on the right-hand side in the JSON. You've got draw, so you've got your typical standard Microsoft Paint type tools, brush, pencil, line, squares. You've even got a little rail tool, so you can draw a little rail across here. An eraser, so you can just drag and drop over the top of it. And of course a spray. But one of the really interesting things, and provides a lot of optionality, is the icons and the units. So the icons, we've got all the different emojis here that we can drag and drop onto the map. And we've got flags, all the world's flags, so you can add your different types of flags and create different scenarios on the world map. G20 flags, markers for presentations. But one thing I like and that I wanted to create for everyone was the units. And with units, I will just start here with the two-dimensional units and the standard representation of all the different unit types: infantry, armor, engineers, air defense, submarines. Like with the other icons, standard drag and drop, and the object is on the right-hand side in the JSON. But looking at something that I haven't found in other applications that I wanted to add was the three-dimensional component of units, and a simple drag and drop process. For instance, a surface warship that can be dragged and dropped with a flag as a skin on the ship. You can rotate the ship. You can add different types of ships, frigates. You can add an oil tanker. You can change the size. You can add notes in the JSON on the right-hand side. You can add labels to the ship, like I did up here with the USS Abraham Lincoln. There's a mouse over tooltip. And there are different air units, bombers, helicopters, drones. So if you want to plot the drones coming in from Iran, firing on the Gulf, you can. And there are strategic buildings that I've added as well, from data centers over here on the far right at the bottom panel, to chemical plants, to ports, wreckages, power plants, oil refineries, missiles, bases, forts. And so once you have all of these tools and you're able to drop them and drag them on the map and treat them as individual objects, you're able to start visualizing different world scenarios and different events. And like you'll see with India, I added a port here and an Indian cargo ship. And so the sky's the limit, and really on what you can do in representing and presenting different world information on the map. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the LLM is the real distinct feature, I think, about this application. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new document here, and I want to call this Russia, Ukraine. So I'll create that and I'll save it. All of the documents are saved in My Documents and then under MapBoard. So this will save all your maps, and in a higher directory it will save different options with the application. So I'll save that, and it'll open up a new MapBoard, completely new. I can choose to display names of the seas, country names at the top, or of course I can select an individual country, go into the JSON of the country, the object, apply the name, and I can also color code the country as well. So very basic standard functionality that you can use. Now, like I said, I want to show you the LLM feature and how this works, because this is very interesting and it's good new technology that I haven't used before, but I wanted to add in a simple and seamless process. Okay, so what we have here is a blank map. Each country is an object, and I have all different types of objects represented in JSON as the units, icons, drawers, text, and tools, as we went through before. If I go into the LLM panel on the right-hand side that I created, and I select from the LLM providers, the API, I select OpenAI, and I choose my particular model. I'm choosing 5.6 Tera, which is a mid-level model. And I want to represent current events on the world map. What can I do? Well, I could say plot the North Korean military units supporting Russia in their war against Ukraine. And I can hit generate here but I will recommend using a web search with the API, because it'll get more current information from news articles. And if I hit generate, what it's going to do is do an API call to OpenAI, my provider that I'm selecting, and it will select the different context with regards to what I've prompted, North Korea, Russia, Ukraine, and it'll represent these objects on the world map in JSON format. So as you see here on the right hand side, I've received my response in JSON format with different notes and different details regarding North Korea, Russia, and them fighting Ukraine. If I click apply to map, it will represent the objects here on the map. It will show, for instance, if I click this object, if I go to JSON on the right hand side and I select the object, it will say KPA engineers, engineering, fortification, mine clearance, and reconstruction support reported for or assessed in the Kursk theater, Korean people, the Korean People Army. And you'll have different Storm Corps, KPA combat groupings represented here in the Ukraine. Now I want some more context and presentability, a better presentation for this representation. So I'll click the country Ukraine, I'll represent the name, and I'll color code Ukraine as blue. I'll select Russia, show the name, represent Russia in red, and it will, these particular properties and features can be changed on the right hand side here on the right panel. We've got names and fonts, currencies, notes, personal properties. So if you have different, like if you want to see grain production or fertilizer production or something that you have that you would like to focus on, you can add that to the personal properties. And what this is doing is using the LLM to add the context of the current world map and apply it to the map board as represented here. So that wasn't enough. I want more. I want to now show, if people are paying attention to the news as of the 29th of July 2026, Ukraine just struck an Iranian ship, I believe in the Caspian. So if we want to represent that on the map, we'll say display and plot the Ukraine-Iran conflict in the Caspian. And we'll wait for that to generate. And it'll return a response JSON, which we'll be able to import and apply to the map. And we'll be able to get that representation. As you can see on the top left-hand side, it shows that the LLM response is ready in the toolbar. This is the status toolbar and the amount of tokens used. Token usage is shown down here on the bottom. The input tokens, the output tokens, and I have a general guide here. All of the customization around the API for the AI is in My Documents under the MapBoard LLM settings. So it's a standard directory layout for all the different types. And these settings are represented in JSON. Okay, so as far as Ukraine, Iran, and the recent attack as of the end of July 2026, we've gotten our report back from the LLM prompt in JSON format, and I'll just go ahead and apply to the map. And as you'll see, it popped up here over the Caspian Sea, relating to Russia and Iran, because the belief is, and I think there's good evidence, that the Russians and Iranians are supplying each other, exchanging targeting information for weaponry. So if I want to add some more context, make it more presentable, I'll just go into the JSON of Iran, display the name Iran. I can change the size of the name. I'll make it 20 rather than 10. So a big Iran, make Iran red as a hostile. And if I want to inspect some of these LLM objects on the map, I'll just hit my select button and I'll look at these particular objects that have been plotted. Now what it has done, the LLM has scanned with the context of the world map that I've created, the current state of the world map with the JSON objects. It has scanned the LLM, the web, for the different headlines, used the open source intelligence and plotted this information on the world map through these different objects up here in the units, icons, and draw tools. So if I inspect this Iranian vessel and I look at the JSON on the right hand side, reported Iranian commercial vessel strike. It has a unique ID, a reported Iranian commercial vessel strike. It has a latitude and a longitude. It's of naval. You can customize this, different labels, different sizes, different strengths, tags, so you can start tagging things to include particular context in your LLM prompts. It has a source, Reuters, so very reliable, and it has notes here. This particular object, the Iranian vessel reported, the note is illustrative, regional placement only. Iran alleged the vessel was attacked by Ukraine. Ukraine stated it targeted vessels carrying Iran-linked military cargo. Open source reporting did not independently establish the vessel identity or exact location, but reporting, the LLM finding different reports, accumulating, aggregating these different reports, can plot and make general assessments and representations on the map. And there's a red note here. This is a different note. This is on July 25th, 2026. Ukraine announced long-range strikes in the Caspian Sea against a Russia warship and vessels it said carried Iran-linked military cargo Iran said an Iranian commercial vessel was struck, killing one sailor and injuring another. Tehran condemned the attack, yada, yada, yada. And so what this does is it allows you to customize the different objects. See, we've got Port Olyar here. And at the moment, Port Olyar is represented as a two-dimensional icon. If you look down here on the bottom panel. If you like different aesthetics, you can take the three-dimensional, and this is a port. So if we go down here, we can select port. Here it is here on the right-hand side, and you can just drag and drop. Here's the object. You can increase the size, make it smaller, make it larger, change the colors. You might want to make it green, and you can use your imagination. So this is an introduction. This is this application that I've made, this program. I've called it MapBoard. It's a wartime simulator or a current event simulator or a map drawing program. You can do all types of edits and get creative. You can use layers on the right hand side to hide your drawings. You can hide the countries and just use it as a standard, sort of like a Microsoft Paint. But the entire concept is that people really enjoy editing maps and drawing over maps and trying understanding and interpreting current events and historical events as well. And so that's what it's allowed you to do. It takes each country as an object. It takes each of the different tools, the drawing, the text, and the icons and the units as objects. And it takes all of this as context for an LLM. And you can choose to send this context to an LLM and prompt events that have happened in the past, in the present, or in the future. And you can plot these and you can get a great visual representation of different types of events that are happening. You can simulate different cargo ships coming in and out of port, submarine locations and formations, the nuclear triad, the aircraft carrier groups, surface ships, aircraft passenger planes, of course. And you can plot all different types of things. You can plot travel, aircraft travel. So if the President of the United States, with publicly available information, has different travel locations that he's going to, you can plot all of those travel locations for a particular time period. So you would say, for instance, plot President Trump's public air travel in the last 3 months. And you would just go and hit generate. And what you're doing is you're getting back a JSON object and it's plotting all the different places President Trump has been, the travel logs, and it will start representing that on the map. So like I said, this is just what I've developed so far. It's called MapBoard. It has all different types of features. You can export the image to share it. It's just a standard export image, which will save to wherever you choose, My Downloads, desktop, documents, whatever you like. It'll save it as a PNG. You can upload it. You can take a screenshot. But it should help you understand the world and get different ideas out on the map, as well as loading different kinds of maps and what other projects that people have created. One interesting thing that I used this for was for publicly traded companies. So I was interested in a publicly traded company in the fertilizer business, an American company. And that American company had different fertilizing manufacturing or industry around the United States. And what I did is I prompted the AI for the United States, for the publicly traded company, the fertilizer company, and it plotted on the map after one prompt all of the different locations of the fertilizing industrial bases, factories that they had, and it showed the shipping lanes and the different locations. So there is an incredible use case, and there's a lot of power going on that can be used to understand what's going on in the world. So here's the LLM I just prompted. It was the United States president's publicly available travel logs. And so here's the output represented in a JSON. I just applied a map, and look at that. Look at all the different locations. He went to France, remember, for the after NATO. He went to the Ankara, to visit Turkey, President Erdogan for the NATO summit, Alaska for the China trip, represented here, May 13th, and you can add different notes here in the JSON. Very, very powerful tool that I've created here. I'm thinking about making this completely free. I would like to make this as easily available as possible, but it is in the development stage. Please leave some comments in the notes of this video and tell me some features that you would like to see in this application. It should remain as simple and clean as possible. I don't want to make this a bloated project. I want it to be easily, readily available for all people of all different levels of sophistication. So thank you very much. I'm sure you'll find some use case for this particular app. I will be releasing it probably as a trial run on GitHub, and I'll upload the executable. But stay tuned to this channel. Subscribe, I suppose, or whatever it is. Follow the channel, and I'll keep uploading videos and keep you informed on the project. Thank you very much.